Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss. We have a great interview today. We have Frank Caliendo. He has his own podcast on YouTube. It's called the Caliendo Cast. You can also hear it
We
on,
know each other.
on
We're
his
friends from
podcast,
work.
available everywhere. One of my favorite comedians. And if you haven't seen him live, you got to see him live. He's unbelievable. His impressions are great. Not as good as Ross the Boss, but they're great. Frank, how's it going?
I love that I talked over half my plug and you didn't care. You just pushed through
I just keep plugging away. I'm like Leno. I'm like Leno here.
Hey, what's up? I remember that's how we met. Is that how we met? Come on, Ross. You're doing such a fantastic job. What's going on? Does Dan ever talk on your show? Is he like,
I'm speechless. Yeah.
You haven't seen this? You haven't seen my bag of tricks yet? It's like a magic.
No, I have, but you keep pulling out new ones, and I'm just like, man, how do you do this? You just pull it
it's
out.
called genius, Dan. That's what.
Well, I mean, that's a given.
I've gone from magic to sorcery. No, I don't know. I figured people know me for all the sports impressions. It's hard to keep coming up with different sports impressions. I started doing TikTok just so younger people would find out who I was, but they don't know the sports stuff for me doesn't work on there. So I started doing all kinds of Avengers stuff. Robert Downey Jr. do some of that, and then Loki, my brother. I am Loki of Asgard, and am burdened with glorious purpose. So
yeah, see, why would I talk? I got to get out of the way. You keep talking.
Frank,
go.
NBA Finals, Lakers won. No parade for the Lakers here in Los Angeles. They're canceling that. Well, it's not canceled, it's suspended. They'll probably have it in 2025, let's say. Did you watch the finals? Did you watch the Lakers destroying? Well, you didn't destroy Miami. But
no, I wasn't real excited. Honestly, I wasn't super excited about it. I couldn't even tell you why. Maybe it's because it's the. Maybe it's just not that season. I was watching the Sunday Night Football game, and I felt like Goran was out, and I thought the Lakers were going to win anyways. It just seemed like it was a foregone conclusion, so it didn't excite me that much. But I think it's in the year with Kobe passing away. I think it seemed like closure and all that stuff, coming together. So, kind of amazing story. And then LeBron, he just wherever he goes, he just brings a championship. I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, that tweeted out that he should just go from city to city,
just winning championships
for whomever.
So next stop, Sacramento. Let's say he goes to Sacramento and wins a championship. He goes to Sacramento and wins a championship. He is the GOAT. If you go to the Sacramento Kings and brings the championship there, there's no doubt that he's the GOAT. It's not Michael Jordan anymore. It's going to be LeBron.
Frank, do you do a LeBron?
No. I the closest I ever
too
came
hard.
was
Too hard to imitate LeBron.
I think that's possible. I do think it's possible, but older people are much easier to do unless they're movie characters because they've been allowed to age and they kind of become caricatures of themselves.
Like Shaq and Barkley. Yeah. Shaq and Barkley are probably
Shaq. I mean, those guys. Even though they were big as players, they're even bigger now. Barkley, I have no idea. Or Shaq. I did Shaq on his show, on his podcast with him, which was very surreal. We do it the entire time.
Frank, one of the funniest things I saw this year, I'm not joking. I watched the Pac-12 network just because I went to Arizona State. I know you live in Tempe or live in Arizona. You were doing Bill Walton with Bill Walton doing the color on the game. You were doing it back and forth with them, and I couldn't tell the difference who's who. And I could tell he was getting irritated during the interview.
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
That's just his it's kind of just his character, because he's like, Mr. Caliendo, do whatever you want, enjoy yourself, be you. There is nothing that can offend me. It doesn't matter. I will be here for you. I will be your setup. I will be the Bert to your Ernie, the Bud Abbott to your Lou Costello, the Eddie Murphy to your Shrek. We will make it happen. Enjoy the world as the earth rotates on its axis. We understand. So I did a podcast with him. Have you ever had him on a podcast?
Not yet. We will, though.
You think
I feel like we just did?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's nothing like that. So John Holmberg and I, he's on the podcast with me. He's a huge radio guy here in Phoenix. Great impressionist, great character guy, and just one of the best radio guys of all time. we both do Bill Walton's. We got maybe 3 words in because Bill it was one question, how are you? And he just started going, a plane flew overhead. Next thing you know, he was talking about pterodactyls or dragons. So he always ends up quoting Grateful Dead songs, and you don't realize it, and he's throwing quotes in. So the plane went overhead, and this was an hour of just Bill Walton talking to himself. And he interrupted himself at one point, said, I apologize for interrupting. That was you who was talking, Bill. It wasn't even us. He didn't know when we were doing impressions and when we weren't. He thought it was him talking the whole time. So the plane correlated to I don't remember if it was a pterodactyl or a dragon. It was surreal. Everything. He was flying over Walt Disney World, enjoying, and I washed my hands. It was right after COVID. It was in March. He's like, I washed my hands, and he would always show himself how he would wash his hands. It's just insane. But the most fun maybe I've ever had, and that game I did with him last year, he's come out to stand-up comedy shows, quite a few of them. He brings, he's brought some special needs people, some, all kind. He's a really, really great guy. He has no idea where he is, but he's a really, really great guy and super helpful to a lot of people. When he
does the show, I mean, he always walks around Arizona State. He checks out the stadium. He checks out the campus, and he makes a point to go to all the different places in Arizona that are like the Salt River, or like some crazy like top of a mountain he'll go to, or he'll go to the Camelback. I mean,
he knows all about it. He'll research it thoroughly, and that's what he'll do the entire game is talk about that while his partner's trying to get him focused on it. It's more fun. The interesting thing was that I got them so off track that Bill was talking about the game. That's how crazy it was.
It was a great moment. I loved watching it. It was very enjoyable. I had no idea you were doing it until I saw you in the front row.
Well, it wasn't even supposed to be. Did they book you for that? I mean, did they book you in advance, or you just were there and they said, "Hey, do you want to come on the air?" No, they told me it was going to happen. They asked me. The producer had called me the week before and said, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, "Absolutely." And then, in the game, Dave Pasch, who's Bill Walton's partner, actually said, Frank, you're throwing us so far off. Bill's actually talking about it. It was the best line of the whole game. I didn't want to make it sound like I made that line up, but yeah, they had it all planned. They did not have any specifics planned, just that I was going to talk. And Bill did not want me to leave. He's like, don't.
I know. I remember.
This is the most fun I have ever.
I said that, but I know
he's talking to himself.
He had no idea what was going. I mean, it was great. Let's talk about the biggest story in the NFL right now. Dak Prescott, his ankle going 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Surgery that night. The Cowboys, as we know, their defense is like a peewee football defense right now. Yeah. And now Dak goes down.
Well, they made that great. They got Andy Dalton though, right? I mean, that was like Tony Dungy made that. Said something there and said
faux pas.
Yeah, but I think that's just where we live. The times we live in. They meant in some ways. I mean, it wasn't meant as a positive in any way. But like,
see, Frank, this is why I don't talk that much. It'll get taken out of context.
Right.
I'll be railroaded, so I just stay silent.
Yeah, and I don't. So it's one of those. Listen, it'll be interesting to see. It was a great move by them to have Andy Dalton. I feel bad, because listen, people coming out of the woodwork who've never really said great things about Dak, saying how great of a person he is, just because, people can come after you and say terrible things. As soon as I put something out on Twitter and people were like making jokes, I'm going, no, this isn't a joke. There's nothing funny here.
This guy had a horrible year. I mean, his brother committed suicide.
Yeah.
The Cowboys did not give him a big contract. They gave him a 1-year deal. He only, I don't want to say it's only, but he is making $31 million this year, which isn't nothing to sneeze about. But they didn't give him the huge contract that he wanted. Stephen A. Smith even is like angry about it. He's like wants to kill Jerry Jones.
Yeah, but Stephen A. Smith is angry about air. I can't believe that the oxygen is the amount of oxygen in this air is quite possibly fortuitous to what is actually happening here. I don't understand where you're coming from, Mr. Caliendo. What are you saying? What is this all about? Yeah, I mean, Stephen A. Smith gets worked up about not being. I wasn't worked up enough. I have to be. When he started doing, like when they gave Stephen A. Smith that giant contract, and listen, he's a superstar.
Huge contract, highest paid employee at ESPN.
Megastar, and he's worth every penny because he's what everybody talks about. Gruden was another guy who was like that, but Stephen A. Smith is somebody everybody talks about. But then they started putting him on everything, like he did the NBA Finals last year. It's like, here we are at the NBA Finals, we're ready to go. Like, you can't do that for 6 hours. You can't do. You gotta break it. You gotta bring it down. You got to go soft.
I agree. The other big upset, and I thought of you just because I remember in Hard Knocks, you did Gruden in front of the whole Raider team, and the Raiders upset the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions, just not in it was in Las Vegas. It was in Kansas City. The first thing I thought, I don't know why, I thought of like, what is Gruden saying in the locker room right now to his team?
I'll tell you what, man, I hate the Chiefs. You hear him talk about that? Yeah. I hate the Chiefs. But I'll tell you what, I'm loving you guys right now, man. I'm giving you a bye week. Win, bye. We're going to get – I actually – and this is the first time talking about this. I don't know when you guys air, but I texted Gruden, who I just said, congrats, big win. I got a heart. Thanks, Frank. Hope you and the family are doing well. We miss you, man. Half the time is I love you, man. I love you. Everything hearts from him. And yeah, I have an idea because it's going to be him and Bruce Arians that they play Tampa next. So I'll throw on my Bruce Arians get up. I actually have some, I can actually
there you go.
Do some props for you guys. Hold on. Get the
nice.
Bruce That's Arians great.
Props. This is for the. That's what I'm talking about, Daddy. We're talking about. I've got Tom Brady. Tom Brady going to be out there wheeling the ball around, doing about as much as he can. I tell you, what, Daddy. That's what that's all about. I tell you what. We're gonna crush those guys, man. We're gonna bring down old man Brady, huh? We're gonna knock him down to size. Derek Carr is gonna be Derek SUV. Derek Lamborghini. It's gonna be tremendous, man. How about Derek Carr? The first interception he's thrown all year was this past week. But what a great game! He's playing really well. I'm excited. 2 years ago, I actually talked to the Raiders, Gruden's first year, and they were struggling. I talked to them. They were in Arizona, and they won that game. And it's weird for me because Gruden's always like, "Hey, what are you doing next week, man?" He's always texting me, can you come talk to the team? We win when you talk to us." Meanwhile, Steve Keim is the GM of the Cardinals, who's a friend of mine. Like I'm giving pep talks to the Raiders as they play I live in Arizona.
Yeah.
But
that's some guts.
But so a couple of years ago, that room. The knock on wood if you're with me. People are kind of knocking. They're like, whatever. Last year, they're knocking. They were legitimately, they were going for it. I mean, you could feel the energy was completely different. And I've talked to a couple players this year. I haven't been around the team, obviously, but the energy is up even more. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if this is their year, but they're on an upward climb. It's fun when you have friends that are in that situation. I'm really looking forward to it.
I wanted to go to the first. I had tickets to the first game. Was invited to go, and I wanted to go to the new stadium. Have you seen it? Have you been to it?
No, I was supposed to right before the COVID stuff broke out. I was supposed to actually go do the alumni.
I was going too. I was invited by one of my friends. Played for the Raiders. It was the middle of March, and he's bringing me with me to the Vegas for the alumni thing. I was going to
wait, but you have to hear this. Ross said that what he wanted was to go to jail. He was so excited about the jail
They have a courthouse and a jail inside the
Did
stadium.
you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that, but that sounds perfectly.
Oh,
Vegas.
well, then what I said, it must have sounded totally insane. But yeah, there's a jail in the stadium, and Ross wanted to go.
I wanted to see the jail.
I don't know why.
Well,
I don't want to see a jail. That's just me.
Look at it. Yeah,
I mean, it's true.
Because I was supposed to do that event. I was supposed to be the entertainment of that event, and we just worked it all out. And then
wait, in the jail or?
Yeah, I was going to be in the jail. Tell you what, man.
Right. So you gotta have entertainment.
So it's the alumni. It's a big alumni event they had in Vegas. They were going to have in Vegas, and I was.
And
funny,
we're going to tour the stadium.
Too.
There was a tour of the stadium earlier in the day. Yeah.
Well, that didn't happen.
Really looking forward to it.
Frank, so how is it like? Let's say with your football stuff, do you play fantasy football? Are you one of these guys that play fantasy football?
I used to, but there, I either get way too engulfed in it and it ruins my life, or I don't pay enough attention 1 week later. I would like alternate from all I care about is that to I forgot to do it. And it's usually I was done about 3 or 4 weeks in, and that's the problem. So I used to really get into fantasy football quite a bit, but not as much anymore. I don't know. I think one of the reasons I like football so much is because I've been around so many players now, and I root for the players even more than the teams. People always make you guys know Ross Marquand, Walking Dead. He does some incredible impressions. As Aaron on Walking Dead.
I thought you were talking about a football player. So
no. So he's a huge Denver Broncos fan. He's like, who's your team? I'm like, well, I grew up in Wisconsin, so the Packers still have a piece of love them, but I live in Arizona. My friend's the GM, and then Gruden is coaching the Raiders. He's like, how many teams do you have? I'm like, 32 or so that I really root for. Meanwhile, my podcast partner John Holmberg has the Pittsburgh Steelers and hates everybody else that breathes. So, yeah, I'm pretty wishy-washy on it. I mean, I like to see people. I like to see people that I know do well, even if they don't win. But I don't know.
Who are some of your favorites? And do you do their imitations? Do you imitate your friends?
Players.
Is that party foul?
Say that again.
Is it a party foul to imitate your friends? Well, you imitate.
No, I would do it.
I
would do it if I could. Absolutely. But I went and talked to the Saints a couple years ago. Drew Brees flew me out to do that. Nothing beats, Gruden was still in Monday Night Football, and I'm talking to Rob Ryan. Hey, order some more pizzas, man. Pick them up at the airport. Let's see.
You could totally use these voices to high school.
You still talk to Terry Bradshaw? You feel still friendly with Terry Bradshaw? Do you still talk to him?
I see him every once in a while. I mean, I love Terry. Jeff Dye. Jeff Dye.
I know Jeff. I play softball with Jeff.
Okay, they're best friends. Like it's.
I know they talk every day. It's like a father-son type situation. It's a very strange relationship they have. I don't know what it is, but it's like they talk like every day, and it's like.
Yeah, I don't. But I also don't like to bother people. When I was at Fox, Terry used to just do the not funny, Frank, not funny. He used to do that every week. And David Hill, who was the president of Fox Sports at the time, loved it at the beginning, but then started getting mad about it because Terry wasn't he was doing Simon Cowell without the analogy at the end. Not funny, nothing. And then it got to the point where I would call Terry and give him lines to do afterward. The producers didn't know about it. Nobody knew about it. I'm like secret calling Terry Bradshaw. And then I'd give him lines. He's like, here's what you say. And then at the end, he'd be like, oh, that. Not funny. I'm like, I did text him after what happened. I couldn't remember it. Like, write it down. I forgot how to rat, Frank.
All I could remember was not funny.
Yeah, but it was huge for a while. I mean, it was really huge. But then it became a thing because there was nothing added on to it. I'm like, Terry, all you got to do is say not funny and why. Just say not funny and have a reason, and it'll be good. Because then I can use that reason against you the next week. But I can't remember stuff, Frank. I have trouble remembering where I sit. And they got my name on there, Frank.
Okay, so what we do is we do a thing called Ross the Boss. We do Ross the Boss challenge, and Dan, tell me what it is.
Let me do it.
I don't do Ross the Boss challenges.
Yeah, you're doing it because I beat Billy. I beat Billy Gardell last week, and he's a huge Steeler fan. And he bet against the Steelers, and I took the Steelers.
Gardell? What did he do? Did he crush you, little Billy Gardell? What happened?
Oh, nice.
What are you guys doing? What's happening? Everybody fine?
I was 3-0 last week against Bardell. I want to go against Frank Caliendo. Dan,
All
tell
right,
him the
so
games we
Frank,
have. Go.
I'm gonna humor us. Okay, we got Green Bay -2 versus Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Do they cover the spread?
where is it? Where is it?
It's in Tampa Bay.
I guess that doesn't even matter as much anymore. No, do they have a
Remember,
crowd?
Green Bay's coming off a bye week, so they had 2 weeks.
They
to
probably
prepare.
don't. Ross, don't they have crowds of like maybe 12,000 or something? They have some crowds.
And not
I
enough
watched
to
the
disrupt,
Browns-
really, though.
No.
Rogers
Wow.
enjoys getting booed at.
I'm
going
gonna
to
go Tampa. I'm gonna go Tampa there.
Ross the boss likes the 2 weeks off. Dante Adams is coming back. He's healthy. I talked to his agent. I'm taking Green Bay. So there you go. What's the next game?
All right, Frank. Now I'm a Browns fan, and you are not under any obligation to pick the Browns at all. I wouldn't.
My wife's
even
from
recommend
Cleveland.
It. Really?
Yeah,
Oh
Lorraine.
my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not far. Well, nothing's far. I mean, in Cleveland,
Where-
there's no
where are you
traffic,
from?
So I'm Shaker Heights.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, so we've got Cleveland +4 versus Pittsburgh. I just asked Ross this. I didn't understand minus and plus, but now I understand it.
Pittsburgh's the
I mean,
favorite.
that
Yeah.
I almost want to weigh in myself, but
It's
I'll
in
stay out of it.
Pittsburgh.
It's 4?
It's in Pittsburgh. Who do you like, Frank?
It's 4.
Pittsburgh is the favorite, and Cleveland gets 4 points.
It's in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, but Cleveland's playing really well. Ah, man. You know what? I'm going to go and take a chance at being 0-3. I'll take
Oh,
Cleveland.
you started to become Leno there for a second.
It happens sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
Ross
there
the
we go.
boss is taking Pittsburgh. I think they'll roll Cleveland. Cleveland's won 4 games in a row. They're due for a loss. Ross the boss, that's one of his key picks this week. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
All right, I'm a Cleveland fan, but I got to say, I would give Pittsburgh 11 points in this game.
I would. There you go.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go. So if I go, I'm going down big.
I love it.
Yeah,
Keep going. What's
yeah.
the last one?
All right, Arizona. We got to get in Arizona with Frank Caliendo on -2.5. I don't know who thinks they're going to score 0.5 points at all, but it's not going to happen.
But so it can go
versus
either way.
Dallas.
In the Big D.
These are
That's the
tough
Monday
games.
night
These
game.
aren't
That's
easy
Monday
games.
night. Frank, let me explain something to you. Monday night game. Andy Dalton on night games is like 0-20.
He's not playing for the Bengals though. It's a different. His defense is.
He was like 0-10 in playoffs, and like
Are they?
I don't
Are
know.
the Cardinals home or away this week?
The Cardinals are away. They're playing in Dallas. They're playing
in
at
Dallas.
Jerry Jones's stadium.
Post Dak.
Andy Dalton's your starter at night. I think he's colorblind at night, just so you guys know. I mean, I don't think he can see.
He says
I mean,
he never
throws-
performs at night.
You guys know who I'm taking. I mean, Dalton's good for 3 picks on Monday.
So
I love Drake. I
going
love
Arizona?
Hopkins.
You're going Arizona.
I'm going Arizona. I have to. I have too many friends that play for the Cardinals. I know half the team.
Yeah, I'm going Arizona too.
All right, Frank and I agree on one game. It's the Arizona Cardinals. It's going to be great. I'm excited for this week's of football. Hopefully, we won't get any
Ross
more
is quite a
coronavirus.
picker. Frank, do you know this about Ross? That he picks things very accurately.
Not wardrobe, but
Well, he picked it accurately. He was
I was
accurate.
82% last year against the spread.
were you really?
Yeah, I was. I've been in tournaments. I've done very well.
Is that how you
for
bought
myself.
that necklace?
This necklace was given to me by Dan when we started the show. Dan got me this as a gift.
It was a gift. It was a gift, and I'm not taking it back.
No.
But Frank, in all seriousness, thanks for coming on. I want to have you on again sometime soon. When I go to Arizona, of course, I'll call you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll hang out. I'll be at some Arizona State games, as you know, big alumnus here.
Yeah,
Frank, can you take us out of this interview with some narration?
Truth of the matter is, they weren't sure how.
I knew it!
to end this
Yes!
segment. Sometimes a man knows that we are just about to leave. This wasn't one of those times. How great is this? Going from the Morgan Freeman to the Jim Rome
To Tony Romo and Jim Nance. Oh, Jim, this is incredible and amazing and amazingly incredible. Tony! I tell you what, man, that's tremendous right there, man.
Frank, as usual,
Love Devin Yon, Frank.
always fun. MFSN, the hub. You know where to find us. And Frank, we'll talk to you again soon. But thanks
No
for coming
problem.
on.
I'm just fixing my hair for the people watching so they don't think it's a tube.
Oh yeah, no, that's the
looks-
real deal.
It looks pretty fake.
Can you do John Madden for me real quick?
I mean, this is a guy who should learn to comb his hair. Boom.
Your Madden's still my. Just so you know, your Madden's still my favorite.
I hate
tell
it.
people
I'm
love
so
it.
tired of it. Like people are like, I'll work on the Robert Downey Jr. to the Thor, Loki.
I like
People
the
are like,
old
Do
school
some
stuff.
mad. Boom. Here's a guy who can't get out of that pigeonhole.
you know, when you remember, like, before I go, when I would do the Tonight Show, when you guys were booking it, Leno was like, you gonna do some John Madden tonight? When are you gonna do some Madden? You gonna do some Madden? You do me and you do some Madden. I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I mean, you gotta do the Madden. People love it. Do you know who John Madden is? Not really. I don't watch sports.
Ross told me to say it.
Ross told me to say it.
Ross loves that impression.
Lying with a blanket over my head, she asked if she could see who was under the blanket with me. I said, you don't want to find. It is Hideki Matsui